Hi guys, time for another video about motion. Today we're going to be talking about what makes something move. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is inertia. Inertia is a really important word when it comes to motion. It just means that an object wants to keep doing what it's already doing. So we'll call this the tendency of an object to continue what it's doing in terms of motion. So if an object's at rest, it wants to stay at rest. If an object's moving, it wants to continue moving. That is what inertia means. So great real life example of inertia in action is car accidents. Because inertia causes things to continue moving the way that they are. So example, wearing your seatbelt is a law, and the reason why it's a law is that when you're moving in your car, you might feel like you're sitting still, but as we've talked about before, you're not. You're moving at the same speed that the car is moving. If the car suddenly stops, you have the tendency to remain in motion because of inertia. And so what happens is your seatbelt exerts this force on you that keeps you from flying through the windshield of your car. But if you don't wear your seatbelt, then you could have a really serious car accident situation and even death. So when it comes to motion, there's something that makes it move is called force. And forces can be either pulls, like SpongeBob is pulling really hard on this stuffed animal dumbbell, or pushes, like at this NFL combine where the player is pushing up on the dumbbell. Force is a vector, just like velocity is a vector. And remember, we said that means that it has both a size and a direction. So force, it matters which way it's pushing or pulling. It also matters how much the push or the pull is. So when we talk about force, we measure it in something called newtons, just named after this guy, Isaac Newton. Now, there are two different types of forces. The first type is balanced, and the second is unbalanced. If the forces are balanced, then the object will continue doing what it's doing. So if the forces are balanced, there is no change. If the forces are unbalanced, then there's a change in the motion, whether it stops or it starts. So, example of this. This creeper is not moving, staying still, and that is because the creeper is pushing equally on the ground as the ground is pushing on the creeper. Even when you don't think that there's a force, there is a force. You just aren't thinking about it. Another example, let's say that this side is pulling at a force of 40 newtons, and this side is pulling with a force of 60 newtons. This side is going to win because the net force is 20 newtons in this direction. So this is called the net force. Here's just another representation of that. Anytime you have two forces that are the same on either side, the net force is 0. If you have one stronger force than the other, then there is a net force. Important that net force is always positive, so you just take the number that is larger when you're subtracting. Also important is that just because the net force is 0 doesn't mean that the object is stopped. So it just means that the motion is staying the same. So if it's moving, it'll keep moving, and if it's not moving, it will stay still. Here's another example. Let's say that this man is pulling the couch at a force of 20 newtons, and this man is pulling the couch at a force of 25 newtons. In this situation, because both the forces are moving in the same direction, you would add the forces. So you would get a net force of 45 newtons. The forces are working together. Another example. In this situation, the force of the car, let's say it's 200 newtons in this direction, and the force of the ground is 10 newtons in the opposite direction. In this situation, the force of the ground is friction, which we'll talk about next time. So here, the net force is 190 newtons in this direction. All right, try it. Pause the video for a second and try to solve these different net force diagrams. And then after you're done, start the video again and I'll tell you what the answers are. Okay, nice job. So the net force of this one, you should have got 6 newtons in this direction, 9 newtons in this direction, 6 newtons in this direction, 3 newtons in this direction, 6 newtons in this direction, and 3 newtons in this direction. Not too hard. All right, one final example of inertia to make sure that you really understand it. This is you in class on your cell phone. You're on your cell phone, you're having a good time. You have inertia because you don't want to get off your phone. You don't want to change. Here's me. I'm really mad because you're on your phone. My force is stronger than your force because I can have the power to take your phone and take it to the front office if I want. So because my force is stronger than your force, you're going to give me your phone and change your motion. That's it for this time. Check back next week to learn more about gravity and friction and magnetism. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and have a great week. Bye.